have the lovely and talented Miss Sherry Winston, and we also have the legendary Mr. Ted Curson and his band. Before I go on, let me say that Miss Sherry Winston, she has an album here. If anyone wants to, purchase, it's on sale. This album, Love Is, has been nominated for a Grammy. She didn't make the Grammy, but it was nominated, and that's an honor. Anyhow, let's, before I bring on Sherry, a little about her. Sherry, she was a record executive years ago, and she decided that's not what she wanted to do. She wanted to get in front of you people and play some beautiful music for you. She played with the likes of Ramsey Lewis, Grover Washington Jr., Roberta Flack, on and on. So without me saying much more, let's give a great Jersey City welcome to Sherry Winston.
Good evening. We're very glad to be here, and we'd like to say the last tune that you heard was something from our latest album, our Love Is album, and that particular tune was called Madison Avenue. And that's a tune that I wrote, that's a tune that kind of is a follow your dreams tune for me, because I wrote it when I had a 9-to-5 job and I was going off to Columbia Records to promote other people's records. And as I was walking to work on Madison Avenue, I was thinking about how much I would enjoy playing on a full-time basis as opposed to working during the day at a so-called regular job and then trying to play my music at night. So I consider this field, for me, pretty obscure. A woman playing jazz is pretty way out there in terms of a realistic dream. So I feel if I can realize my dreams, and I stopped working a full-time job about 4 years ago, however obscure your dream may seem to you or others around you, hold on to it, because our dreams can become realities. You just have to believe in yourself and have one other person. You don't need a lot of other people, but just one that believes in you too. So hold fast to those dreams. Thank you. The tune right before that was a song that I wrote for my father called Chuck's Funk. And that's from my first album, the Do It For Love album. And the one that we opened with was called Strolling, and that's also from our latest Love Is album. So, you know, with family favorites, if you play or write one song for your dad, what happens if you don't write a song for your mom? You're in trouble, right? So coming from a strong family where my mother was definitely the matriarch and very powerful lady, I had to write a song for her. So the next song is also going to be from our first album. It's called Song for Jocelyn. It was written for my mom. And the one after that was written by our keyboard player, Mr. Nick Barroluck. And it's called Give It Up For Love. This is going to be the title theme of our next album. And that's kind of a broad statement, give it up for love. It's kind of whatever it means to you. But to me, if love is important, you should be willing to give up whatever is necessary for it, because love is very difficult to come by. And that's whether it's love of a child, or from a parent, or for a personal mate, or love for a country, or a religion, or whatever it is. So that's, I don't know what Nick thought about. Is that pretty much covered? Okay, so that's going to be Give It Up For Love. And the last song in that little series is going to be a tribute to a man that we all respect, Mr. Horace Silver. And we'd like to do his song that he made popular many, many years ago and has just re-recorded himself, called Song for My Father. And oddly enough, we stuck it in our second album, just as something that we wanted to pay homage to our musical forefathers. So we hope you enjoy those three: Song for Jocelyn, Give It Up For Love, and Song for My Father. This is a good time to introduce the band. You know, as a leader, you have a lot of responsibilities, and I think the first responsibility is to pick good musicians. I think Winston and his Spirit of Life Ensemble knows all about that. And the second most important thing is finding people that are compatible spiritually with you as well as musically, because if the spirituality isn't here, it's really difficult to make music. Since music is an art form, it's more than just taking out the garbage or washing dishes or, you know, any kind of normal task that you'd have to do on a daily basis. It's something where you're really trying to tap your creativity. And these guys up here are really fantastic, I mean, on a spiritual level and also on a musical level, and it makes my job so much easier when I know that they're going to play the music that's there, that's written, and interpret it in a very musical and wonderful way. So, on keyboards, a gentleman that you've been listening to has played with Mr. Bob Baldwin, Mr. Michael Urbaniak, Gary U.S. Bonds, and most recently, Mr. John Lucien, Mr. Nick Barrelup on keyboards. And this next gentleman goes back with me more years than I would wish to admit to, because then I'd be kind of telling my age. I'm not going to be that silly. But anyway, he played with me a long, long time ago. We won't go into the number of years. And he kind of left my group because we were struggling and trying to get it together. And he went on to do great things. I'm talking about our current guitarist. And he went on to play with people like Ashford and Simpson, Harry Belafonte, Roberta Flack. You can't blame him for leaving me, right? And most recently, Mr. Gregory Hines. On guitar, Mr. Keith Lovin. And I have to ask this next gentleman how I met him, because I can't remember. It goes back a long time ago. How did I meet you, Rico? Man, you're kidding. Oh, this is a good story. I forgot that connection, but when I was getting ready to do my first record, Do It For Love, a guitarist that we had been working with, whose name is Van Gibbs, he wrote that title tune, Do It For Love, and he was responsible for producing and writing Island Woman, a song that we're going to do for you in a little while, and also another one of our big songs called Love Mission. And Luico is reminding me that Van introduced us. I forgot that. That's a great connection, you know, and they say that networking is everything. I mean, you find your best musicians by asking other musicians who's really happening. And usually a guitar player is not going to give you the name of a bad bass player, because we all rely on good bass players so heavily. But anyway, I just spoke to Van. He's doing all right. Anyway, on bass, We have been fortunate because he has played with people like Gato Barbieri, Mr. Earl Klugh, also Roberta Flack, Jonathan Butler, and the lover of all times, Mr. Luther Vandross. Yes, sir. On bass, Mr. Luigo Hopper. And ladies, I know you're all envious out there because not only do I have a talented band, I've got a bunch of good-looking guys back here. Every once in a while I forget that they're good-looking, you know. Not very often, but once in a while. And then I look back there and I say, Anyway, our last player, and definitely not the least, because for those of you who play instruments, you know that if your drummer is not kicking, you are not happening, right? And I have played with some drummers that have not been happening, and I don't care what you do up here, the band is not going to sound good. Everybody is so critical to our sound and our performance. Anyway, our drummer has played with the famous Carlos Santana, Mr. Jeff Beck, Jan Hammer, and Mr. David Sanborn. On drums, Mr. Tony Smith. So collectively we're called the Sherry Winston Band. You can tell I took a vote, and that's what we came up with, right? This is called The Age of Women's Lib. There are not too many things we get to make decisions on, but if you have your own group, I guess you can name it what you want to. Anyway, this next song, speaking of women's liberation, this next song is for all the ladies in the house. I want to see how many single women we have in the audience. Let me see if I can see you. Raise your hands. Nobody? All of you all are married, even the 8-year-olds? Wait a minute now, there's more single women than that. There's too many teenagers and younger people in here. Why aren't you guys raising your hands back there? All of you little ladies back there married? I didn't say have a boyfriend now, I said married. You're married? Oh, okay, well you gotta raise your hand then. Okay. All right, now let's get a count of the married ladies in the house. Wow, we got a lot of married ladies. All right, now we're gonna take a head count on the men. How many single men do we have out there? There's a personal survey. All right, now, okay, the single men that just raised your hand, how many of you cook? Let's see this. Now, ladies, you know they're lying, right? Okay, wait, let's do this again. Let's be honest. The single gentlemen, raise your hands if you cook. Get out of here. This is better than New York now. New York, we just have a few men that raise their hands. Look at these little boys raising their hands. Get out of here. You all cook? Well, I don't know if I can tell my story then. I'm going to tell it anyway, thank you. Okay, this song was written for the married woman, or the woman who has a man in her life, okay, a serious man, and he comes home at night, and he looks in your face, you both go to work, and he's looking in your face and ready for you to make dinner. How many of you know about that? Uh-huh. Now, what do you ladies say when your man or your husband expects you to cook dinner and you just finished working a 10-hour job? Wait, you all have to talk up loud and I can't hear you. What do you say? Thank you. Are your hands put on backwards? Okay, that's what I was wondering. Because see, I haven't been involved with a man yet that cooks. I don't know if I'm like a magnet. I attract all of these men that are waiting for me to do something for them. I am a good cook, but that's besides the point. So anyway, I wrote this song because I want these guys to work to know that we ladies work just as hard as they do. And when we come home, we expect a little equality. And that means that you all have to learn how to make the salad and the vegetable and learn how to set the table. Right, ladies? At least they can do that. Right on. All right, so we're going to do a song for you, a song that I wrote. It's going to be on the next album with Nick's song. And all the guys up here are going to be playing on this next record. Honey, they better, because if they don't, they're going to be out of this band. If I ask them, okay, let's take a survey. How many guys in the band cook? All right. Okay. Anyway, the flute is going to play the lady in this song, and she's had it, right? She says, look, tonight you are going to cook for me. I'm sitting down and I'm going to watch TV, and you go in there and I don't care what you do, but you have to get it together. The piano is going to answer her. Now, what's the piano going to say back? Okay, the piano is going to say, stop bugging me. He said that's being polite. Okay, now, during the improvisation of the flute, she's going to have a few kind words for him, ladies, okay? So now I'm going to leave it up to your discretion to fill in the blanks of what those words are. Now, the piano is going to answer her back. You know you can't say anything to your man without getting some lip back, right? So he's going to musically have something to say on his improvisation. At the end of the song, you all have to vote. Are they staying together? Is she kicking him out of the house? Are they getting a divorce? What's the deal? You got to listen to hear, okay? Right after that, we're going to do a song from our last album, our Love Is album. And it's entitled Island Woman. And we're going to feature our bass player and our keyboard player again. So, Love and Marriage and Island Woman. got to help us on this one. like to say some thank yous this evening. And first of all, we'd like to thank all of you for coming out, because you've been a very supportive and wonderful, wonderful audience. We have to really give a big hand to our sound man, Greg, for doing such a fabulous job. Greg is also the drummer in the Spirit of Life Ensemble, as I'm sure you all know. And we'd like to thank the Community Awareness Series, the library in particular, for having us and inviting us this evening. And especially two people who saw us perform at Shanghai Red several months ago, Mr. Winston Patrick and Mr. Daoud David Williams. We'd like to thank them. And all the wonderful people, their staff people, that have helped to make this concert possible. And thank you also for our video technician and all the people that have assisted in having snacks for everybody later and snacks for us before we came on. We really appreciate it. So thank you for supporting us this evening. Hopefully I'll be able to stay around a little bit later. I have some CDs and also cassettes of all three of my albums. Sometimes they're difficult to find in the stores, so I know they're very difficult to find. They're supposed to be there though. But anyway, I'll be glad to autograph whatever you'd like to purchase and say hello to you all. So maybe we can do that in between the sets. Okay, we're all waiting anxiously for Mr. Ted Curson to come out. I know you're all want to hear his brilliance tonight, and we're anxious to hear him also. I'd like to end now with a song that's going to also be on this fourth album that we're also waiting to come out. Everybody's asking me, when is it coming out? First we have to record it, then it'll come out. But anyway, it's a sequel to the other two symphonic rock suites that I've written. It's called Symphonic Rock Suite number 3. And it incorporates many things. It incorporates classical music, a little bit in the beginning, a little bit of a Latin feel for the people that enjoy that kind of music, a little bit of funk. So it's typically a jazz fusion tune, and that's what we are, jazz fusion players. So we're going to feature all the members of the band in this particular song and let them kind of do their thing. Again, Mr. Nick Farrelluck, keyboards. Mr. Luico Hopper, Mr. Tony Smith, Mr. Keith Loving, and again, thank you to Winston Patrick and Mr. Daoud David Williams. Thanks so much for having us. It really makes us feel good when musicians ask us to come out and play. So thank you. Thank you. My name is Sherry Winston. Thank you very much.
All right, one more time for Sherry.